How you going? Today's video we're going to talk about doing layouts. Layouts very similar to in the tunnel. Imagining you're in a back carve, head down, and then you're flying across the tunnel to do a back layout. At the moment, currently in the sky, what a lot of people are doing is flying on the belly, and then they kind of come up like they're on the belly in the tunnel and then over onto their feet, and they either go this direction on their feet or they go back vertical and push this direction. There'll be another video on this later on. For now, we're going to talk about back layouts, so imagining or carving in the tunnel and then going from there. So the way we set this up in the sky is just in a general angle, and from the general angle, once we're here, the back flies will then continue from through the head over through the belly and then ending up through onto the belly and then being able to fly backwards. So essentially you're doing the full loop of the back layout ending up on the feet from the head. From here we can then go down and then back through on the head, but we'll talk about that video later on. So let's crack on with it. We've got 3 jumps to watch here. I'm going to show you a good one. Maybe you might even watch 4. I'll show you a good version of it, and then I'll show you a couple typical things that can go wrong. So you'll see here, Shano Onus is on my right. So he's essentially in the out face position in the tunnel. So the move he's going to do is like a classic. So he's going to, or like a stall back into in face. So it's like you're doing a front layout. So he'll be out facing here, stalls back across the tunnel, down vertical, and really trying to carry this. So we're not trying to go straight up, we're really trying to emphasize the flying forwards in the tracking. Okay, so we really want to think we are tracking, not just going over on the feet. Okay, so the other guys, they're on the back angle, dive down through on the belly and thinking about belly tracking, belly tracking, and then onto the feet. Just the same kind of motion as the tunnel. So here we go in, now we're diving vertical. You can see Shane next to us, diving on his back nicely. So he's now on an angle. These guys are behind on the belly. So you don't want to be in front. Okay, so it's more like you are following in the tunnel. One person goes and you're following in a line, just like this. Once you come through, you can see to the other quite easily, and then flying in this direction. So it should allow you to set up in slots quite well. Cool, Shane going out there. You can see these 2 boys are on their belly here, Sam and Jacob. Cool, riding out on the belly, excellent. And then myself here starting to push this direction on my feet, pushing forwards. Okay, so that was probably a bit quick by Sam there to stand up, but he's maintained a good level. He's in front of me, he's not above or below. Jacob here, he's just a little bit lower. And Shano in the good slot, just a bit far away, but good slot, good heading. Goes a bit higher, maintains, and then we're starting to move again. Okay, so this is a pretty good one. So now we're all in moving on the angle that way. Which is another one where we have some stuff ups, and I will run you through the typical ones of what happens here. So this first one, I'm pretty sure it's Dave Collins, DC. He's the one who kind of goes on his belly and essentially stalls out. So this is something that typically can happen. So when you are doing this, watch out for it. Make sure you have clean air. So you can see here on the left, pretty sure, who's that? That's Royce. We got Dom, I don't know who that guy is. We got DC, and then Reese on the side out there. Okay, so you can see all 4 guys have their own clear air behind, so in case something like this does happen, they're not going to hit each other. So we're diving, and then there you go. You can see the orientation of the torso changes pitch compared to these guys. So this is why we really want to have that feeling of diving and not doing this to stall. So it really feels like you're diving through the layout and then coming through and then back down the other side. So that typically happens, but he does well by keeping the speed up and then flying through it and then returning to head up. Right, so you can see these guys here on the belly, they come straight in, back into slot. These boys obviously can't turn it because this has been exported. They're in a good slot as well. So it was just a little bit of separation on the transition there itself. Cool, so that was one of them. You can see typical, boom, belly's out a little bit. Okay, so really thinking about keeping that forward drive. So that was the first one. And then the second one, he goes to correct it. And he goes to correct it and then does the opposite one. So this is another typical one that can happen. So not meaning to pick on him at the moment, but it's just a very good example of the things that can happen. So we're all set up in angle here. So the goal is eventually to be able to do this in lines, just like in the tunnel. But to learn this move, I've found this is the best way to learn it in groups like this. So we're just breaking down that movement in itself. You can see now, just doesn't go on the belly, goes into an angle position. And because it's an angle position rather than a delta, like you would be doing as you come down through the belly in the tunnel, just causes him to shoot that a little bit far forward. Gets back, no worries. You can see it's not too big of an issue. Okay, it's just that slight extra movement to go compared to these guys who are now essentially directly in spot. Like you look at Don right there, very good. It's just timing from then on. Go back real quick. Okay, cool. So yeah, just a bit of separation there on the after the transition, but all good. DC comes straight back in. So you can see Reese starts coming into close. He has a bit of the burble, sees DC and bumps into him. So if you do hit, try to be solid. Don't put extra drag out. Put extra drag out, settle, be strong with the legs, okay, and that's going to allow this to be a bit more stable like DC there from that bump. So good, great jump. Yeah, hope you like that new little move. Go on and give it a test, but please test it in either groups of 2 or line them up like that. I don't recommend anyone doing this unless you can fly in the tunnel and do this move in the tunnel already. Doing this without experience like that and just going and trying it is just going to cause dangers, cause accidents, and yeah, it's a lot of speed changing. You're moving in directions, you're changing directions, so you really want to have really good awareness of where you are in the sky and also have done this before in the tunnel proficiently, not just tried it with a grip. So layouts by yourself, 85%, something like this. Cool, hope you enjoy it.